Thank you for joining me for this brief tutorial focused on customizing pipette calibration workflows for use with the PCS and the ArtelWare application. I have a lot of information to share with you, so let's go ahead and get started. There are a number of customizable settings that you can either enable or disable within the ArtelWare application for your pipette calibrations that are being performed. Click on the Administration section, click on Lab Policy Settings, and then make sure that you're in the tab for pipette calibration. Let's take a look at the calibration workflow requirements at the very top of the screen. These are requirements that are applied to all pipette calibration workflows, regardless of the method that's being used for that pipette calibration. This very first option, require reviewer to be different than operator, even if operator has review permissions, has to do with record management. By default, ArtelWare wants two different users to be involved with a pipette calibration. The first user is the operator who's performing the pipette calibration itself. The second user is the reviewer of that operator's data. You can choose to disable this function by clicking on the Edit Lab Policy Settings at the top of the screen and unchecking the box for Require Reviewer to be different than operator, even if the operator has review permission. Let's go ahead and save that setting. When we select Save, we'll receive a message from the software indicating that the changes are not going to be effective until the next login. Of special note, if you do uncheck the box for the reviewer and the operator to be different, meaning that you want the reviewer and the operator to be one and the same, therefore giving the operator review permissions for their calibration report data, you'll want to make sure that the operator themselves has the permission to perform reviews for pipette calibrations. To check and see whether or not an operator has the permissions to review their own pipette calibration data, navigate to the Groups section, and then click on each respective group that's listed. For example, let's click on the Operators group. We can see that the permissions are very limited in the Operators group. There are permissions to calibrate instruments, calibrate pipettes, and verify liquid handlers. When we look at the available permissions list, the permission for calibration review results is required if we want the operator and the reviewer to be the same person. If you want to add the calibration review results permission, simply click on the Edit icon for the Edit selected group at the top of the screen, click on Calibration Review Results, and then click on the single right side arrow to add the permission to the group. From there, you can select Save, and then effective at the next logon, those permissions will be parsed out to the members in that particular group. Always make sure to go back and check the members of that group to make sure that the user, again, that might be performing the pipette calibration, is listed within that group and has the permission to review results for their calibrations. Let's head back to the lab policy settings and let's explore the other settings that are contained there. We talked about the general calibration workflow requirements. Now let's talk about the options that are available to us for pipette calibrations that are performed on the PCS, on the balance, or calibration results that are manually entered. If we take a look at the pipette calibration section for the PCS, there are a number of different options that we can enable or disable. We can require the recording of the temperature, the humidity, and the barometric pressure of the laboratory during the pipette calibration. We can also require the tip information to be recorded as well. For pipette calibrations performed with a balance, we can require an evaporation rate check, and we can also require that the tip information is recorded there. For manual pipette calibrations, where data is manually entered into ArtelWare, we have the same selections that are editable for the recording of the temperature, the humidity, the barometric pressure, and again, the recording of the tip information. If you want to edit any of the settings in the Lab Policy Settings screen, click on Edit Lab Policy Settings icon located at the top of the screen, and simply check or uncheck the parameters that you want to require during your pipette calibrations. Select the Save box located in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen And again, note that any changes to the screen will be effective at the next login. Okay, that concludes our brief tutorial. Do you have additional questions? Please contact us at 1-800-225-4034 option 3 or at support@aicompanies.com. Thank you.